Hello, good evening. Welcome to our VCE and VTAC sessions, and thank you for logging on. This evening, we will be going through a presentation related to VCE and VTAC, and then we'll be opening up for a Q&A session. My name is Norah Moloney, and I'm the VCE coordinator. Also here tonight is Nick Taylor, the Careers and Pathway Coordinator. We have Fionna Wooler, the Student Services Coordinator, and Matt Jones, the Year 12 Coordinator. During the presentation, if you have any questions, put them up in the chat section and we will answer them at the end of the information session. If we look at the first slide, Aidan. Okay, as I said, it's the VCE and ATAR information session. For those people who aren't aware, the GAT is scheduled to be conducted on October the 7th from 10 o'clock in the morning to 1:15. The GAT is really important this year. Over the years, some people have felt that it's not very important, but it is because if for any reasons the students can't do the exam at the end of the year, they will use the GAT to calculate study scores. So it is really important. We don't know what's going to be happening over the next couple of weeks, and so it is really important that the students do the GAT and do the best that they can. We have been giving them some practice sessions in the mentor session, but I've also asked the students to have a practice, a 3-hour practice over the holidays, put on their mask, sit down as they would normally do to do the GAT, and have a practice. Because often the students have been working on their computers, and so they're probably a little bit out of practice, sitting still for 3 hours and also writing for the 3 hours. The exams are on from November the 10th to December the 2nd. We've been told these dates will not change. There is one other thing that I wanted to bring up, and that is that the school has organised for the students to be able to see some revision lectures. Earth Ed has been conducting revision lectures for several subjects called master classes, and I've got the website there. I will post that up on Compass after this session. We've also had revision sessions presented by the rural and regional community. Each weekend, they have been presenting 1-hour sessions, revision sessions on various subjects, fairly specific subjects, but over the next week of the first week of the holidays, there are a lot of revision sessions, short, sharp, they go for an hour, and about various subjects. I would be recommending to the students that they watch the session and then they spend some time going over what they have learnt from the session, whether they start the session and say, I'm going to pick 10 things that I didn't know before I started watching this, or they sit down and do a mind map immediately after watching it, or they walk out and tell somebody else in the household about what they have seen. It is a really good way to revise. And it stops, or it encourages students to not just sit and watch. I would really encourage them to take notes and to spend some time revising it immediately after the revision session. I'm going to move on to Nick Taylor, who is going to be talking about VTAC. Nick?
Thanks, Norah. So VTAC is the Victorian Tertiary Admissions Centre, which is a central point for applications to Victorian universities, TAFE, independent tertiary colleges. VTAC is also the organisation that calculates the Australian Tertiary Admissions Rank, which we all commonly know as the ATAR, for our Year 12 students. Students don't need to apply to all the different institutions they're looking to study at next year. They instead submit one application through VTAC, preferencing up to 8 courses that they would like to do in 2021. Next slide, please, Aidan. So VTAC has been open since the 3rd of August, and I have been working closely with all of the Year 12 students this year, where they've had a mentor presentation explaining the VTAC application process to them. And I've also had many one-on-one phone calls helping students complete their VTAC applications. Timely applications for VTAC close on September 30, and it's really important that you get your application done by this date to pay the $41. If you miss the September 30 deadline, it jumps to $119. And if you miss that deadline, which runs through till the 6th of November, it then jumps to $155. So if you're speaking to your child, you will know that I have been nagging about this. Nobody wants to pay more money. So it's really, really important that you get your VTAC application completed by September 30. If your child is unsure how to do this or needs some additional support to do this, can you please get them to send me a message on Teams, and I can support them to complete this process. SEAS applications is a separate process that has a slightly longer closing date. SEAS closes on October the 9th, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about SEAS on the next few slides. On December 30th, our Year 12 students will receive their ATAR results, and they can then, during that time, change their preferences around. So if they have preference courses that they maybe don't meet study score requirements for, or they don't get the right ATAR, they get an opportunity between December 30 and January 4th to change their preferences and reorder things in order to receive offers on January 14. All these dates are readily available on VTAC, and I will put links to these within the Year 12's Teams page as well. Next slide, please, Aidan. Also, just a reminder, if you've got any questions about VTAC or SEAS, if you could please pop these into the chat and we will answer them at the end of the session. So SEAS is a special entry access scheme that is a single application for all eligible preferences. So this is where students can put in information to have considered with their VTAC application. How SEAS works is that it sits with their ATARs, goes to each institution that they apply to, and can help to re-rank students. So sometimes it helps to give students access to courses that they maybe didn't think they were going to get into. So it's really, really important that every single student at Mount Clear College completes the SEAS application. This year is a little bit different in that everyone's eligible for Category 1, which they have always been, but there's also a Category 4 with a COVID section in it that all students are encouraged to apply for. Next slide, please. So as I said, Category 1 is the one that everyone needs to open up and click in. It's as simple as ticking a box saying that you want to be included for Category 1. It's just about our location, and it also includes some information about whether you're the first in your family to attend university, and I think the Indigenous section is in there as well. Category 2 is for financial disadvantage. Category 3 is for medical and any disabilities that students may have that they need to have consideration for. And then Category 4 is for difficult circumstances. So this is everything else beyond your control that has had an impact on your education, that hasn't already been covered by any of the other categories listed. For Category 1, there is no extra evidence that's required. You just need to tick the box. But for Category 2, 3 and 4, there is additional documentation that needs to be uploaded to your SEAS application in order to be considered for these categories. For Category 2, it's in documents like Centrelink payments or information from accountants. Category 3 has to be from a medical practitioner that is treating you for the condition that you have. Category 4, for the difficult circumstances, can be anybody. As long as it is not somebody that lives in your house, they have to be over 21 and understand the circumstances that you are applying for. So some of the things that you could put in this category are passing of family members, disruption to your housing if you've had to move, refugee information comes into this one. Category 4 is also where each student needs to go in and check 5 boxes in relation to their experience learning from home during the COVID pandemic. So just a reminder, VTAC closes on the 30th of September at 5 p.m. to pay the $41, and SEAS closes on the 9th of October at 5 p.m. However, do not leave Cs till the last minute. Every single year, the system crashes and you can't get your documents uploaded. So the sooner you get your documents uploaded for Cs, you will get confirmation that they have been read and are downloadable for VTAC. So I encourage everybody that's looking to apply for category 2, 3 and 4 to get your evidence collected now, allow time to see practitioners and upload these documents as soon as you can. Thank you. So next slide.
Fiona.
And I'd like to introduce Fiona.
Fiona, you might be on mute.
I'm just here just to remind everyone of the support that is available to students, but just to remind families too of how we can support our students through their next exam period and the remainder of Year 12. So it's really, really important that sleep becomes the student's best friend. So they're needing to recharge, have a really good sleep routine so that they can give everything their all. So just making sure that they're not on devices or bed and then to bed at a reasonable time is really, really important. Also, they're needing to really feed their brain, making sure they're making good food choices and also drinking a lot of water to keep the brain hydrated so that you can improve your memory, attention span and the ability to task. So exercise forms a part of that healthy routine, keeping up their normal exercise or just making sure that they're taking those breaks from the screens as they have been in remote learning. We really encourage getting outside, going for a walk, keeping up their normal activities that they normally would do, because all of those three things once again improves your memory, attention span and their abilities to multitask, which is really important during this exam time and the end of Year 12. The emotional well-being is really important as well. They are going to be stressed and that's really normal and that's expected. So I suppose it's just about encouraging them and letting them know that it is okay to be stressed. Year 12 is a stressful time in a normal circumstances and it's now compounded because of the pandemic. So stress is really normal. So it's important to keep that conversation going. However, if you're a young person, you feel really struggling and needing some additional support, there is absolutely a lot of support within the college. So please reach out to the student wellbeing area, to their teachers, to the year level coordinators and everybody who is here tonight. Every person within the college is here to support the Year 12s get through the next 5 weeks and then exams. So please make sure that you're reaching out. But just reassuring them that it is a stressful time and that it is very normal part of Year 12. Matt?
Thanks, Fiona. Hi, everyone. Good evening. I just want to reiterate what Fiona was talking about, the importance of sleep, the importance of managing stress, and what helps your students do that will be to maintain a routine. And so the temptation is that once we're on term break or once we're on SWAT vac, once classes finish the week before exams start, is to completely change a routine, bedtimes change, wake times change, those kind of things. So it's really important for our students to maintain their routines and mix in a balance of study and break times in order to best support that. So if they can maintain that routine, that will help them be prepared for those exam times that are going to take place during traditional class times, with the latest exam times actually taking place from about that 3 p.m. to 3:30 mark through to 5 to 5:30. So that's why we'll always encourage our students to maintain their period allotments throughout the day, but also that post-school homework period or revision period is really important as well. Over the next 6 to 8 weeks before exams start and throughout exams, it is going to be really important for our students to maintain their life balance. And so the temptation will be to get completely stuck into study. And it's really important that we take breaks where we need breaks, socialise with friends, get outside and exercise, do some mindfulness activities or some activities designed to unwind that'll get your mind off that study so you recharge, refreshed to get back into that next block of study. Another temptation we see during this time, especially over the term holidays, is for those students who are undertaking part-time work, is to increase the number of shifts that they want to take because they feel like they have more time for that, and just really want to support our students through this time by encouraging them to not change the number of shifts they're currently undertaking. And where possible, perhaps it's time to take a small step back so you can maximise those study times, downtime times, socialising times, exercise, and importantly, sleep. So if our students can create themselves a study planner, a weekly overview of all the things that are important to them, whether it's exercise, whether it is their study times, whether it's their break times and their social times, along with their part-time work, then it'll really open up the week for them and allow them to see where they can maximise their time. And again, of course, throughout that study time and those routines, the teachers are accessible via Teams, they're accessible via Compass, and so our Year 12 staff will endeavour to get back to our students at the earliest possible convenience to support them through that time. So we do encourage them to use all available resources possible for the remainder of their journey through Year 12. Back to you, Aidan.
Thank you. We've only got 2 questions so far. The first one is for Nick. How do students and parents go about making a booking with you?
So you need to send me a message via your student's Teams account, please, and I will then be able to get in touch with you at a time that suits us both to have a meeting.
Lovely. And Fiona, similar question. How do students or parents go about making a booking with the Shack?
So you can also make contact with Shack staff, so that's Jodie Hanley, Nicole Humphrey, or myself through Teams. So you can go through the student. Otherwise, you're able to make contact via the school phone number, and we will get transferred. You'll get transferred to a member of the team.
Lovely, thank you, Fiona. We don't actually have any more questions, so I'll hand it back to Norah to finish us off. Norah, you're on mute. Norah, I think you're on mute.
I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
I'd just like to, thanks Aidan. I'd just like to say, if you do have any questions after this presentation, don't hesitate to contact anybody at the school. You can go through the front office and they will pass on messages. But I'd also like to thank you for logging on, and I hope you have a good evening. And we all look forward to having a break during the school holidays.
Thank you, everyone.
So thank you.
Thanks.
Mount Clear College, providing outstanding opportunities and pathways that inspire individual excellence.
New city streets and cars, Like when I close my eyes.